Yo.
Hello there.
Greetings.
Funny as
That's not the greeting I wanted to go with. I want a do-over.
No do-overs on There You Go.
Well, there you go.
So this is the Jackie Paper episode of There You Go.
Yes,
episode 3. Hold on. I got some latency.
That'll do it.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I have on here is I want you to snap your fingers. Now, do you know how snapping your fingers works?
You're smacking your finger pretty freaking hard on the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm. But would you believe me if I told you that it was like a miniature, like your finger is moving so fast that it's like breaking the sound barrier?
A sonic boom.
Absolutely not.
That's fair. We definitely just watched an episode of Friendship is Kind, Nick Coletti's podcast, and it like that was one of the first things they talked about was like. Yeah, like, they started on some just, like, bullshit. Like, did you know? Like, it was funny as hell.
I wish that's what snapping your fingers did.
Yeah, but, like, they had us fooled. Like, we were there, like, snapping our fingers, like, damn, bro.
Sound barrier.
That's so cool. Like,
that's some Naruto shit.
Yeah.
Like, he could snap his fingers so fast.
Very anime.
Yeah.
Do you have the note pulled up?
Yep.
You didn't give me a fucking note.
Yep. Okay, so the next thing I have on our list here is today. So Zach, tell us about your day.
My day?
Mm-hmm.
I woke up at a time that I don't remember because I was very tired this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I fumbled around trying to clean up around the house for a little bit. I didn't get a ton done. Then at 11, I clocked in and worked in my studio doing tech support until about 2 hours ago.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, Steven had an eventful day today.
Good.
All of that was less of a question and more of just a means to an end to talk about Stephen King's day. Ray, would you like to?
Yeah, so there was construction going on, like the roof is getting worked on.
Oh.
So there was just for about how long?
I don't know. Like it started at like 9 a.m. and it went into like 3 or 4, I think.
So just constant knocking and banging, and like Steven was definitely losing his mind.
he was fucking like traumatized. It was.
He usually just hears these birds right up outside under the roof, so he probably heard that. He's like, these are enormous birds.
Oh, funny as hell.
He's still on edge, honestly.
Yeah,
I would be too, man.
He was under the bed like the most of the day.
Sucks.
I felt so bad for him.
It's like Roma on 4th of July, or anytime fireworks happen, she just like goes under the couch, under the bed, whatever.
Damn. Man. So like, all right. So how did you guys meet?
We don't have to detail the specifics, but yeah, like, go ahead, like.
We both worked in the same grocery store. I was in the meat department, and Tom, Demo, what are we calling you on the podcast?
It doesn't really matter.
All
Mason
right.
called me Tom, but like I officially, per the podcast, I am Bad Demo.
Okay. Well, back when we met, there was no such thing as Bad Demo. It was Tom, and he worked in the grocery store, and I was slicing meat in the back, and I don't really remember the full circumstances.
We maybe talked like 2 or 3 times.
I do remember, before we actually were like friends, I think the first conversation I recall having was about your fantasy basketball team. And I think that might be the last time you've had one of those.
Yep, definitely. No such thing since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and I remember, like, you gave like one of our mutual friends some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like I was like, oh shit, Zach likes Yu-Gi-Oh too. Like,
gave him my Six Samurai deck.
And I don't know, it's like all history from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started making music in your basement.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really...
When was that though? Like, because you started making music way before me.
Okay, yeah, I guess I started really making music in like... I mean, it would have been like...
Do you know a year?
It technically would have been like senior year of high school, like, you know, with my friend Jacob, but like I didn't start taking it seriously and trying to like pursue it until, I don't know, 2016 and 2015, 2016, something like that. And then by the time we met, it would have been like 16 or 17. And then I think around that time you probably started making it too. 17 or so.
Like I definitely made shit with you long before I made shit by myself. 12 Zans.
12 Zans. Oh man, I forgot about that one.
That was not our first track that we did together. You probably haven't heard that shit.
No.
Surprising
because it has thousands of plays on SoundCloud.
we used to spend money on SoundCloud reposts. That was not a waste at all.
Hey man. Here we are now. You said like you used to buy reposts too, right?
Yeah, from like Chapo and whoever.
You probably bought a repost from Chapo.
I definitely did not specifically from Chapo, but like we were damn near, like, unbeknownst, like we were damn near fucking with Chapo around the same time.
Probably. Yeah.
Band God Chapo, watch how God bless me. Lefty loosey, righty tighty.
Yeah.
Funny as hell. Okay, so, I guess the next thing I have is, like, that is more of a question, like, who is Jackie Paper? Like, we've been calling you Zach this whole time, but, like, like, can you give us, like, sort of an idea of, like, your musical project and, like, what it consists of?
The origin story.
The origin. I really do actually have an origin story. It's nothing like super crazy. I think it's kind of sincere. So like growing up, we used to listen anytime we were in the car in the minivan when I was really little. Like since I can first remember having memories at all, we always listened to this. It was Peter, Paul, and Mary's children's album they made, and they released it as. Instead of Peter, Paul, and Mary, they called themselves Peter, Paul, and Mommy. Just, it's a kid's album. And that was also the name of the album. And just full of bangers, top to bottom. Totally heaters.
Untraditional, or maybe traditional bangers rather than, modern bangers.
Not a like hi-hat triplets or anything like that. Just like, it was like kids music, but they did like kind of some Simon and Garfunkel, singer-songwriter, acoustic stuff like that. And it was like all recorded in the 60s, so it just sounds nice and warm. Yeah. But like, the very last track on that album is Puff the Magic Dragon, which is like, everyone knows that song. And the little boy who is friends with Puff, his name is Jackie Paper. Like, little Jackie Paper, he loved that rascal Puff. Like, that whole album, I rediscovered it a few years ago. I bought it on vinyl and just re-listened to it. And it was this very, like, evocative experience. I just, like, forgot. It had been, like, over 10 years since I had listened to that album. And I was at a point where I was not sure if I wanted to release music under just my name. And then I heard the last track and it said, Little Jackie Paper. I was like, yeah, no, easy. Like, this is my childhood. I'm already this person, because that whole song is about like growing up and like realizing that being a child is not there's no time or place for that in the real world, so you have to give up all your old childhood things and move on and all that. And
I remember like talking to you. I don't remember if it was in person or on FaceTime, but like you definitely like had this like revelation like about like your name, because like you had been searching for it for such a long time. I remember having conversations about that, like man, I don't know what I'm gonna call this, like you know, like because you were releasing music under your real name for a long time. Yeah, that's no, I that was like, when did you decide on that name? Like,
it's definitely been more than a year.
Like a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, we're approaching 2 years at this point for sure. It would have been when I was still living in the apartment. Yeah, we'll call it just shy of 2 years, I think is probably what it was.
Were you Jackie Paper at that show where we met Ray?
Yeah, definitely I would have at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
That's funny, like, because like that's like our point of origin, right? And it's funny that that's like, you know, a point of origin for you too. Like that's really cool. A lot of significant shit happened like around that time for all of us. Like that's really cool.
I prefer to be able to like show people that like, yeah, this is Jackie Paper, instead of me having to be like, yeah, this is under my name, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep this name.
Right, like giving a disclaimer.
I always like gave disclaimers because I had such little confidence, and something about like this Jackie Paper name and it being something that's so like deeply rooted in who I am as a person and like my upbringing and the kind of music that I like. You know, it's like this warbly, warm 60s like golden age of recording, like kind of like lo-fi sort of acoustic indie music, and like I didn't realize how impactful it was on like the kind of music I like too. Like that's the reason I even like Sufjan Stevens or Simon and Garfunkel and all that.
That's cool,
and all that stuff. But yeah,
that's what's up. Ray, you wanna take the wheel on this next one?
Yeah, man. So talk about like, you know, what you've got out now.
I have a single song out right now.
We have the name of it on here, but go ahead. Yeah,
it's called Boy, and it is probably still my favorite song I've ever made. It's Tom could probably tell you that like I've always been very hesitant to post anything, very insecure. I always give disclaimers anytime I'm talking about my music, and I'm getting better at that.
Brief pause. Before we get into that, what is your private SoundCloud track count right now?
Oh boy.
Like just to show, like this man has one song out. But the back catalog is there. It's just no one has access to that shit.
Relatable.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna work on that as I answer this, because I have to go to. Yeah. But anyway, so this song though, Boy, it just kind of is the first song I've ever felt so good about that I don't have to give people disclaimers, that I like. It is just I was not releasing things because whatever I was making was like good, but not. It was not like this sound that I was going for. Whereas with Boy, I just like chopped up this Beach Boys sample. I had a cassette. I plugged it into my little boom box, into my MPC, and just chopped it up, threw some drums down, and just immediately like wrote lyrics on top of it. And it was everything that I've been trying to achieve sonically for years. You know, I've been working
probably 7-8 years at this point.
Yeah, since like, I mean, yeah, if we call it 2015 to 16 is when I started. Yeah, like was it 22 I dropped Boy? Yeah, so like 6-7 years since.
That's wild.
Like one track out, and it just finally, like I made that, and that night I was like, finally, like I knew that was going to be the first song that I released, and it just felt really good. It was a very like a visceral experience, and the lyrics are very honest. It's you know, about growing up being like unmedicated, undiagnosed ADHD kid, and just like the pressures of that from like every adult in my life, not like anyone specific, just any adult who was an authority figure at all. It is just, there are a lot of expectations placed on kids, especially if you're like a smart kid, you know, you do so well in school for so long, and then all of a sudden the ADHD starts to set in, and it becomes hard to focus, and it just makes you feel like shit. And I feel like I really captured, like, the whole thing is supposed to be a conversation between my current self, my adult self, and like my childhood version of myself. So it's just like immediately it starts off, the lyrics are like, who are you now? Like, the kid is asking that, the kid version of myself, and I'm like, you are what you dreamed about. Like, you're making music, like, you're doing exactly what you like. I literally used to spend hours, you know, in my little ADHD hole just drilling into this idea of me like someday making music, and like I did, and now I'm having a conversation about it in that song. So it just felt good to be like the first track I ever released. Like, I'm never gonna feel bad about that song, you know.
That's what's up, man.
That's really tight. Yeah.
And it seems like, you know, with any kind of artist, I guess, once, you know, you spend so much time trying to get things right, but once you really make it about, you know, something personal or relatable, or you just draw from life experiences, that's usually when things kind of make sense. Yeah,
man, it's very honest, and I also think it's super important. This is something I think I figured out in the last year or so, but I feel like you gotta embrace the flaws. Like, it's, at least for me, not worth the time and energy that it takes to try to make something perfect. Like, that's not human, I don't think. Like, perfection is not human, and so like when it's imperfect, I think that it feels way more real, way more relatable. And so like the song is like kind of sloppy in exactly the ways that I want it to be. And so like
The Alchemist. Let's have that conversation. like Ray, take the wheel again here. Like,
I mean, you're the alchemist, bro.
I am the alchemist.
But no, I mean, it's funny because I'm not even like, I don't want to say I'm not an Alchemist fan. I'm just, he's always like producing something for somebody that I fuck with.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. And then we just watched that video about him and that Earl shit. Like,
yes. We should talk about that damn near if you want to. Like,
yeah.
So this was like 2019. Okay. Do you have your?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Actually, I can get it to you. Hold up. Yeah, I just got in. Don't tell me I gotta rotate my page. Come on. Okay. Jackie Paper profile.
Private tracks.
Tracks total. Okay, so this is so sad.
Give us the numbers.
All right, so I have one public, one released, right? I have. Ray, do you want to read out that track count, please?
Oh my. So there is one song out. Private, there is 768 tracks.
Damn.
That's a terrible stat line.
I mean,
no, like.
But it really, like, that tells you everything you need to know about, like, how, like, insecure I've been for years about my music, you know? Like, I don't release it. I just don't. Like, there are some demos and stuff public on SoundCloud, but I intentionally never put them on streaming services because then it was, like, real, and then I had to, you know, move forward with actually releasing. Whereas,
right.
Yeah, and Boy was the first one where I felt like I could do that confidently, and now, yeah, I'm working on an album now that I'm like feeling better and better about every time I add something to it, and like I feel like I found my lane. I found like where I want to be.
There you go.
There you go.
Name drop. Do you? I remind me to come back to that Alchemist video, but
gotcha.
Do
you want to talk a little bit about this like upcoming project, or would you prefer not to? Like,
it's so I can. This thing is so it just constantly evolving. Like I've been working on an album since I started making music. Like that was the goal from the beginning. Is like I want to put an album together. I want it to be like an experience top to bottom. And so it's technically been the same album I've been working on for like 6 or 7 years, but it's changed. I've completely wiped out the track list multiple times, changed the artwork, the album name, all that stuff. But right now what I'm settled on is called Main Character. And simply because like everyone is the main character in their own lives, like any narration that happens is only ever about you, you know. And so like it's not even that deep. It's just gonna be a bunch of songs that are about me that hopefully flow together well, and I'm gonna try to like balance out like, you know, my interests musically. Like there's gonna be a lot of sampled stuff on there from the MPC, and then, you know, some like lo-fi warbly acoustic stuff too, just here and there when the time is right. So yeah.
Hell yeah. That was I feel like, just given what I've heard of the project, like I feel like that's a really good synopsis.
I've never been able to describe it in like
so concisely,
in less than like 5 sentences.
Right. No, that was tight. That was good. And we captured it.
We did.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit? I'm just riffing at this point. I'm not even looking at the shit. Which is kind of how I expected this to go. But do you want to talk a little bit about like the sampling and like your workflow in relationship with that? Like,
yeah. So I guess start to finish, it's sort of, there are like multiple ways that I like to sample things and like different tools I like to use, but like above all, my favorite is my MPC. You know, I spent years wanting to buy an MPC. Like, you know, I used to. I used to read about like Jay Dilla and his MPC, like, and I mean he's one of the main reasons I ever wanted one, along with like MF Doom, but. You know, now that I've got one, generally what I'll do is I'll either, you know, go crate digging at like a record store, get a bunch of 50-cent vinyls, just something that like looks like it might have something on it. I plug it into my record player, into the MPC, get a little like 8 to 16 bar thing to chop up into a sample, pitch it up or down, stretch it, chop it. And then like
the way sampling works.
Yeah, you know. You know.
not to diminish what you're saying, but like you're describing sampling.
I'm describing, like if you don't know what sampling is, now you do. So I mean I'll get a sample. I really do like stuff from the 60s. I just think like it's all so warm, you know. I generally don't have to do a lot of mixing when I'm cutting those samples up. Or if I don't go to a record store, I go to this website called radio.com, and it's radio with 5 O's. Highly recommend it. It's like it is a world map, right? A map of the whole world. You click on a country, and then you click on a decade, and then you choose either fast, slow, or weird. And you can do all 3, just 1, just 2 of those options. And usually what I'll do is like I'll go 60s, pick a country. Russia and France always has some like heat from the 60s. And then I'll usually just do slow and weird on my options there, and then just shuffle through. There's so much good shit to sample on that website.
I've been with you multiple times where you're like, where we're just like diving through it, and like in a matter of minutes we have something we want to work on. I'll
usually go there and I don't stop looking for tracks until I've got 5 that I feel good about that I might want to cut up, put them in a folder, put my SD card into my computer, drop the files on the SD card back into the MPC, sample sequence, and then I just generally like will riff melodies over top of it until I find something I like, maybe play like my bass guitar over top of it, and you know, bring it all back into Ableton and record.
You're giving up all the sauce today. No holds barred. I love it. No, it's cool to like you know, you and I have had these conversations, but like it's cool to like, I don't know, let other people know. You know,
I always thought it was incredibly whack when people are like, nah, you don't get to know how I make music, that's a secret to me. Which, fair, sure, fine, it's your process. If you want to hide that from everybody like a selfish bastard, totally go for it. Like, that's fine. I just think like this whole like art, music, whatever thing is like meant to be shared from start to finish, you know. And I like Robin Pecknold, the frontman for Fleet Foxes, is like the epitome of that.
Like full transparency.
Full transparency.
Like just giving up everything.
Yeah, he literally gave, like, he sold the stems for his most recent album, every stem for every song on the album for $15 to anybody who wanted it, and then proceeded to give like Instagram live guitar lessons on how to play all the songs.
Damn.
And, like,
That's insane.
Yeah, and people would like repost them, like, you know, playing the songs based off the lesson. He would like repost and be like, "You are so good at guitar."
Yeah.
You know, it's just like he's about the community. He's about, like, you know, people being creative. I think that's what it's about. Like, there's no need to be like gatekeeping this shit, man. Just like, if you're making stuff, you feel good about it. Share it. Tell people about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of gatekeeping in the photography world for some reason I don't understand.
Really?
Like I don't get it at all.
Like people just like, I'm not gonna tell you how I edited this or how I took it.
I'm not gonna give you any techniques. I'm not gonna, like, I don't want you using the models I use. I don't want you, like, shit like that, man.
See, I think to a degree I get it, because I'm human and I'm like prideful, you know.
Yeah.
But I think, man, if you really got it, like, you don't need to worry about people stealing your style, because like if people emulate what you're doing, cool, you are probably good enough to continue advancing and evolving. Like, you will move beyond whatever sauce they just stole from you, you know. You will continue to develop. I don't know, like, I've never been worried about that. Like, if I make something that somehow pops off and I tell everybody how I did it, doesn't mean my career's over. It just means everyone knows how to do that, and now I'm gonna move on to
do better.
I'm gonna continue to improve.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like that comes from, like, Ray, what you were talking about. Like, I feel like that damn near comes from, like, a place of, like, insecurity. Like, you know, like, I'm not really sure where I'm going with that, but, like, I don't know, like, and I've definitely, like, as a visual artist, you know, as a musician, like, I've definitely, like, dealt with my fair share of Hi, Steven. I've definitely dealt with my fair share of, like, insecurity about the product that I'm making or whatever, but, like, I don't think there's been any instance, like, not to, like, toot my own horn or anything, but, like, I don't think there's ever been any instance of, like, I have to protect this image, this song, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, and because also, like, I'm not saying this at you, like, because I fully believe in you and everything you're doing, but, like, people who are, like, you know, very guarded about their secret sauce, I'm like, you must really think you're hot shit. Like, if you really think people could take this and then go, like, run off and make $1 million, check yourself.
For real.
You know,
for
like,
real.
it's be a part of the community. People love that more. People will embrace that more. Where if you're guarded and shit, like, I think you get so closed off, you don't allow yourself to advance or, like, grow in that community. You know?
Absolutely.
Where's the beers?
That is a good question. Where are they still in the?
I gave them to you. I gave you the 3.
Yeah, I don't know where I put them though.
They're probably done.
Brief commercial break, sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon. Where are the beers? He said that perfectly, like funny as hell. Okay.
See, I just assumed since this was a podcast, you guys would be sponsored by, like, Manscaped or something.
Funny as hell. Let's see. So, the next thing I have is, like, recent work, drawings and tunes.
We haven't even talked about my drawing.
And I know Ray wants to talk about this shit.
Cool.
Hold
on, let me just...
Yeah, get that on the podcast.
Let me get that PBR pop.
Oh, boy. There you go.
That was probably clipping.
Oh, we're good, I think. Let me check. It doesn't really matter. Oh, yeah, that was loud as fuck.
Hit that follow button. Or the follow at the top.
This one?
Yeah, buddy.
Boom. There we go.
I love to see it. Yeah, that was loud as fuck.
It's all good. Maybe you can give us tips and tricks on how to master this as well.
Yeah, it's called the Ozone plugin.
I should probably be using that rather than just like a compressor and a limiter. But
Yeah, fuck it.
oh well. So recent stuff, drawings, tunes, whatever you want to talk about. Let's go.
Yeah, this is soon to be new, by the way. This is just something I'm excited to get into. I've decided I want to get into sculpting. I'm gonna get some clay. I'm gonna like make wonky little sculptures, and I think they're gonna probably look like they're from the same universe as all my drawings.
Yeah.
So that's just something I'm excited about. But I have not at all even bought the supplies. But the drawings and things like that, that is something that I've been doing for such a short period of time, like maybe a year now at this point. And like, you know, I always drew when I was a kid, because kids draw. Every kid draws, you know. And I never started taking it seriously until this last year at my previous job, which turned into just this soul-sucking corporate nightmare.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah. And so, like, just to get through the day, I would just doodle on sticky notes with whatever pen I had. And then over time, I was like, damn, these are kind of great.
Yeah.
Like, they started off as these little, like, cartoon, like, single panel, like, comic strip sort of thing about the office that I was working in, and like they were funny, and I would like sneak around after everyone had clocked out, and I would put the sticky note I just drew on someone else's desk, and then it became this whole thing where everyone in the office didn't know who it was that was drawing the sticky notes and putting them there, and they just referred to me as the Midnight Doodler. But then
This man has a reputation.
Yeah, I do. But that's where it started. That's that origin story. And then from there, I just I somewhat recently started posting them more and more on my Instagram. And
he went ghost.
I went ghost. Yeah, I've been taking a social media break, but I've still been drawing, and I am trying to get more into drawing, like form, like, you know, like album artwork, song covers, like things like that. Just because I am getting more and more confident in my drawing and all that. It's, you know, if do
you have anything on your phone that you can like show us?
Yeah, it's generally people. I like drawing weird little people with weird faces, weird hair, weird features. That is my bag. Here we go.
Damn, that's the art folder? I didn't mean to like peep your phone, but damn, bro, you've been going crazy.
Yeah, this is I just did this one like the other day. I don't know how to pass that one around.
That's hard though.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, damn near have you like airdrop if you're cool with it, like airdrop these to us and like
if you want to like pop them on there, totally.
Yeah, like show them to the audience and whatnot. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'll grab a few of them.
Yeah, just pick a few that you like.
Oh, dude, I drew. I don't know what this is about. We were playing Borderlands at your place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab that one.
Yep.
We'll do pink one. Do Off Kilter. Steve Lacy. This guy. I drew a new logo for myself. I'll put that there. And all right, I'm just gonna draw them all. You can decide which ones you want to put in there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess how do I talk about something that is visual? I use ink. I use colored pencils, and I like to do like stippling for like shading. And when I approach shading, I realize that the shading is like kind of correct. It's like partially correct, you know. But mostly I like to do it really wrong. And like if you look under like the eyes of my characters, they all got like crazy, like their eyes are super dark right here. Like they all look sleep deprived, which happened on accident at first because the dude, I just like when I started, I just sucked at drawing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try some stippling. And so I was like stippling under the eyes, trying to get just like some subtle shading. And then I was like, oh no, I fucked up. I gotta stipple more to fix it. And then like I was down to like
became heavy-handed.
Like just exactly. And then I got all the way down to like the past the cheekbone, it was all shaded in. I was like, oh no, this is like the upper lip shading on that drawing of Trish in Napoleon Dynamite.
Like, and it looks like she has a mustache.
Exactly. I'm like, it's too much. I fucked up. And then like I came back to it. I was like, nah, he just looks so tired.
Yeah.
And then I just leaned into it, and now I like how tired all of my people look.
Yeah.
So,
What do you use to ink with?
it's just like some Pigma Micron pens, basically.
Okay.
They're like 03 is like the size I generally use for like my black lines. And then like when I really get in there, I've got some like 005s and 003s, which are just fragile as hell. Yeah, man, that has been like a very fulfilling. Did you get them?
I got they popped up. I press accept and then they're not there.
Try it again. But yeah, that's been a very fulfilling like outlet for me, and very new. Like I said, I feel like even more than music. Like music took me a while to get like confident to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm good at this. Like for my purposes, for like the kind of music I like to listen to, I'm good at this. Like if I heard Boy on the radio, if I had not made the song Boy and I just like heard that, I'd be like, damn, this goes crazy. I love this.
Yeah.
And like with my drawings, I within like 6 to 8 months got to a point where I was like, if I stumbled on this on like an Instagram feed, I would follow this account immediately.
Yeah.
And
That's
I don't
what's
know.
up.
Yeah, I don't know how I got there so quickly. I think part of it honestly has to do with like I figured out musically, like on a conceptual level, how to approach my creative process, like in that sort of transition.
You were able to like apply that to other media. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really comes down to the flaws, you know, like just embrace the flaws. Like I like with like I feel like if you listen to Boy, you're gonna be like, yeah, it's a little bit sloppy. That's the point. Like it's supposed to be. And then you look at my drawings, like yeah, it's like totally overshaded and overdone. That's like the point. That's why I like it, because it's wrong. It's human, and like it's a little bit messy, and I enjoy that.
It's nothing easier than just being yourself.
Yeah.
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 We kind of just you kind of just went into the techniques of like your drawing and whatnot. Let's see.
Yeah, I didn't know how I was supposed to answer that. I was just
it's all good. It's all good. Like if you're checking off our boxes, like you know, like you're thinking of the same shit we are. So like, Ray, you want to take the next one?
Where we at?
After techniques.
Oh yeah, points of inspiration.
Ooh, in what lane? Like music?
I mean,
drawing.
well, since we are drawing, I guess we could just, you know.
So yeah, honestly, okay, there's this guy on YouTube that specifically, if I had to point to anybody, it'd be this guy who like convinced me that I could draw. He is my Bob Ross. And he's actually it's Peter Draws is his YouTube account, and he's
Are
just
you familiar, Ray, or no?
I think so.
You've probably honestly like seen a video of his at least pop up, like you.
What's his like profile picture look like?
Here, let me look him up. I got you.
It's changed a few times recently, but basically his whole thing is like he doesn't set out to draw anything usually. He just starts drawing, and then he's like, whatever it starts to look like is what I let it become. Which I fucking love that. Like you know, because he just like does all these weird squiggly lines, and it's all like ink. Like he uses fountain pens primarily, which I was gonna get into. Then I was like, that seems like a lot of
pens, bro. Fuck pens.
Yeah,
Fuck brush pens, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, it's too much.
And they get kind of expensive depending on which ones you get. You can get cheap ones and they will work fine, but you know, as with anything, like forking over a little extra money always is better. So I just stuck with the Pigma Microns, and I totally like was able to emulate what I wanted to emulate from this guy, which is just like his line work, which is kind of squiggly and like it looks like a nervous person drew it, because like it's not like none of the lines are straight. Yeah. You know, like when I draw like if I draw a square, like it looks like I was nervous while doing it. Yeah. I prefer that. Yeah. You know? And
you're like working yourself up just so you can fuck up a square, like
is too perfect. I gotta think of my insecurities, and then I'll start drawing.
What are some problems with myself?
But basically, his whole like philosophy was just like, you know, you don't have to know what you're doing, just do it. Like you'll figure out what you're going for here, and just like the way I'm doing a terrible job of like capturing it and articulating it, but he just that.
One of you guys want to pass me another beer? Sorry. Oh shit.
Whatever, sir.
Rip. Keep going.
Yeah, but basically his whole philosophy is just like, you don't have to know how to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Let it come naturally.
Exactly. And like that was how I started doing music, you know? I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I have a good taste in music. I feel like when I hear a song that doesn't suck, I understand it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make music until it eventually doesn't suck, just because I know what that sounds like. And he was like, basically said the same thing. Basically said the same thing, but about, you know, drawing. He's like, you know, if you look at art, and you know, art that looks good, you know, apply the same criticism to your art, but be nice to yourself.
Yeah.
I like art that looks good.
Yeah.
I like it looks good when I draw it, or how would you say that?
How would I
Zach?
say that?
Yeah.
I like the way it looks when I see it.
I need to be more natural with my drawings, man. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm pretty confident, but I also like.
You should be, bro. Like, I fucking love your drawings, honestly.
Thanks, bro. I don't know. I can't like freehand a square. Like, I'm like, hey, bro, you got a ruler? Like,
yeah. Honestly, I think that I've never had like any real structure or like training on any of the stuff that I do creatively, which is like totally makes sense because all that shit feels like school to me, and like I have ADHD. Like school was always hard for me, man. Like if I felt like I was studying,
School was very hard.
School was hard for me. I'm not, you know, I was in all the like tag and shit like that, you know, talented and gifted, all those things as a kid. So I was smart enough, but like staying focused and like staying motivated, getting dopamine from studying has never been something that happened for me.
Yeah.
So like I feel the same about like, you know, trying to learn guitar or like trying to study like concepts of drawing and just visual art in general. Right. And so I'm just like, I do not have the patience to learn this shit. So I just go for it. And I feel like that has resulted in something that feels more natural. Like I don't have to explain what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. You know? And that feels nice. That way when someone, like if anyone were to ever critique me like, oh, like the shading is off there, I'll be like, hell yeah, it is.
Damn near. No, but like, not to speak for you, but like, I feel like your drawings are like so practiced and like and that's not even a diss. That's just like
I know.
You know what I mean?
How could that be? That was so nice.
I don't know.
They're perfect, bro. I don't mean to insult you. They're perfect.
No, but like I feel like it damn near comes from a place of like you looking at these comic characters and like wanting them to be a certain way because you love these characters, you know, like
yeah, because I don't like drawing characters I don't have any familiarity with. Like when I drew that Cloud, like when you suggested I drew Cloud, like I fucked with it, but I was like, man, like not that I don't like Final Fantasy, but I've never really gotten into it, so I'm like,
neither have I, but I love playing Cloud in Smash Bros.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I don't want to fuck, like I'm gonna fuck this up because I don't know.
Do you usually like just draw like what would you say the ratio is between like original creations that you just like came up with yourself versus like characters whatever that already exist?
Like 95 and 5%. Like 95% of the time it's just comic characters or whatever I love, and then 5% of the time it's just like, maybe I'll try something new. you know. But even then, like when I draw characters, I know I try to make it my own in a little way, you know.
You definitely have your own distinctive style, and honestly,
did you see that cloud drawing, by the way?
yeah, you showed it to me. Yeah,
like,
it's so good. I do really like it, man.
Dude, like,
that's the thing.
Like I think I told Zach, and maybe not you, but like that is one of my favorite drawings from you, bro.
Thanks,
and
bro.
like
It does look really good.
That's another one of my favorites too. You know which one he's looking at. You know which one he's looking
I
at.
gotta get back on Instagram. I've been missing out. Yeah.
It's funny because my little sister was watching me draw that shit, bro. So I'm like, and she's like 8, so I'm like, man, I gotta. And she knows that I draw. And she draws because of me, so I'm like, I gotta.
That's really cool,
dude. There is like kids when they see adults drawing, they're like, oh.
This
So I can do this
tight.
forever, like for all of my life, you know?
Right.
No, but I think specifically like your drawings have like this very consistent tone that I appreciate too. You know, it's kind of like it feels sort of like why I enjoy music from the 60s, because it's like warm and like it's almost a little grainy, just like almost a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And it feels like there's this mask over it that's just very subtle over the whole picture.
Tone tan paper, baby.
Yeah.
Plus I add grain before I post it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, but it's just enough.
It's all fake, bro.
No, but like,
No, not at all.
but even, dude, everything is fake. It's software. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but
like,
thanks though, bro. For
no,
sure.
I'm just saying, like, you know what, like tone, what sort of like warmth levels you're looking for, and like you get it. And for me, as just a viewer, it's very satisfying, and
Thanks,
the lines are very crisp. Like, just technique is killer, and just like the way you do it, like it all looks like your creations, you know.
Thanks, man.
Did you see the drawing he did of Mason?
You did a drawing of Mason?
I'll get my sketchbook. Hold on.
Dude.
You've got to see this.
stoked.
Like
I know right now the hair is gonna be gassed.
So just to preface, we had Mason on the podcast for our first episode, like first official episode. Like episode 0 is just me and Ray.
Yeah.
And
I did this today.
Oh, this is Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and then
Dude. Yeah, man, I like it a lot.
if you flip back, like that drawing of him is
This one back here.
see that just might be a page that got bled through. So it's probably it's the next one.
Probably. Yo. Yo. The Rat King. Yeah. This is so crazy. Has Mason seen this, I assume?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
absolutely fucking love it.
He just like reposted it on his story or whatever.
Yeah, he
and
shared
said-
it and like he messaged me, but I can't remember what he said.
Dude,
But yeah, he liked it though.
that looks crazy. Yeah, I love it. What do you use for like the fill on this? Like all the red and everything?
Just Copic markers or whatever cheap alcohol markers I can find.
Cool. That looks killer.
Thanks, man.
Long live the king.
Yes, sir. Call back to episode 1.
That's such a good album.
Dude,
Yeah.
we can talk about that for a second if you want to.
I fucking love that album.
I definitely asked him if the spinning wheel was like about like you and me and you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like
Our
you were-
resolution.
yeah, like your New Year's resolution to like release a song every month. I think it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I asked him about that just because I was curious, and he was like, "Yeah, I wrote those lyrics like 2 years before." Like,
Wild.
yeah, like it was. I mean, that episode will probably be out either sometime this week or next week.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, because I had texted him too. I was just about that track at the beginning.
we know.
Yeah, and it was just like, yo, this makes me think of how like we set a resolution to. We were gonna send each other a track every month, like, hey, worked on this, here it is, like just sort of like an accountability buddy type situation. And more and more, like, my work situation got shittier and shittier, and it became harder to like have creative energy at the end of the day. So I
Yeah.
like was not sending shit anymore. And so like I heard that line in the spinning wheel that was just like, you know, you said that this was gonna be your year, and and various other lines in the song, and I just felt like, regardless of his intention writing that, it spoke to me either way, which is the point.
Right,
you
right.
know?
And he kind of talked about that a little bit on the episode, like, and it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember, like, every word of that hour-long conversation.
You have failed as a podcaster.
Funny as hell. 3 episodes deep, and 4 episodes deep, I have failed as a podcaster. No, but like, he was talking about like how like he worked backwards. Like he had like the album title, like many of the track titles and shit beforehand, and like that shit was crazy to me, and like and he kind of I feel like he kind of operates in a similar way that you do, of like writing like intentionally vague lyrics that like he's not entirely sure what they mean exactly at the time, but like, you know, like,
yeah, man, it's that's my favorite way to write, is just like, I know exactly what I'm trying to say, like, not 100% of the time, but like when I do know what I'm trying to say, when I've got like a concept and idea that I'm pursuing, I'm like, okay, how can I say this in a way that realistically my family won't understand specifically, you know, but also because, you know, it would be nice if like a wide group of people were able to like receive it and just
interpret it differently,
and apply it to their lives. And I think it's like a fun challenge, like how whimsical and like mysterious can I make my lyrics while not sounding like a total cornball.
Right. Right.
There is a word, I will say, in this album. Mason has used a single word that has more syllables than I am ever going to be brave enough to use in a song. It is a metathesiophobia.
Yeah, he talked about that on the podcast, I think.
And that's off the spinning wheels.
Yeah,
which is, again, like, you look up metathesiophobia, and it again reinforces the idea of like what I was talking about with like the resolution to like, you know, send each other a track and stuff, just like the fear of the unknown when you make a change in your life.
I gotta capture this moment. Okay, so we went on a bit of a tangent there, which is totally fine. Like, we are here for all the tangents. We are at 50 minutes.
Damn.
And we've been talking for a minute, but this is cool. We were talking about your points of inspiration for art, because like that's what. But like, let's talk. You know, it doesn't. You don't have to go into great detail, but like. You know, like artists or albums or, you know, like shit that has inspired your music, basically. Like, you talked about Peter, Paul, and Mommy and that influence on you. Like, that's recorded and more or less, you know, has been talked about. But, you know, if I know there's got to be like other shit that's like, this is where this came from. Sort of shit.
Yeah, and because it comes down to like, I you know, as with any artist, you're trying to just like piece together parts of all of your favorite artists and inspirations and grab the pieces that are your favorites and put them all together to form like your own unique sound, identity, whatever. And so for me, like, there are a lot of consistencies in my music, like the sampling. I'm always sampling. Not always, but like very often I'm sampling. And so like the sampling stuff, again, like MF Doom.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. You guys keep talking.
So like the sampling, definitely like MF Doom. I still, the way that man cut up samples, I'm still not sure I fully understand, man. On an old ass MPC, like, man. I think he had a 3000 or something like that. One of those like gray ones, or the MPCs that were like the same color as like the original Mac computer, you know, that like off-white the old stuff. I draw a lot from MF Doom when I'm sampling. Also, of course, like Madlib is probably one of my favorites right now. Alchemist, of course. Sort of unintentionally, like, I feel like my physical style takes after The Alchemist too. Just because like we both have thin faces. I'm gonna have to shave my head eventually. I've got like metal rimmed glasses. It's just like I want to meet him someday just to be like, yeah, I'm the 6 foot version of you. I don't know how tall he is, but anyway, yeah, it's all those guys like Madlib, J Dilla, MF Doom are probably the big ones.
Yeah.
Thelonious Martin, actually, is like the youngest producer that blows my fucking mind. I maybe even more than MF Doom. I do not understand how this man like cuts up his samples.
Yeah.
And it's so satisfying to listen to. Yeah, sampling side of things, and also Thelonious Martin, Philo, the way he does his drums, huge inspiration to me as well. It's just like dusty, warm, and they just fucking smack. It's really all about like the kick and the snare and like the draggy, like kind of slow, like the hi-hat sound a little drunk, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that is again like very J Dilla, very Thelonious Martin, all that sort of stuff, like the lo-fi boom bap, you know, Flying Lotus kind of shit like that. And then like at the same time, like I feel like, okay, here's how I can describe like my influences in like a very shorter manner. Is like my influences are on a spectrum, and you go from like the hip hop end of the spectrum, all the guys I just talked about, to the weird alternative indie singer songwriter. I don't know, weird shit like Perfume Genius is another guy who just writes these ballads, and they're just these big grandiose theatrical, like it's not even kind of similar to any of like the hip hop stuff I was describing at all. And it's so beautiful. Literally the first time I ever heard
what's that album name?
No Shape.
Yeah,
that's a top 3, probably top 2 album for me. Track 1 is called Other Side. First time I heard that working a construction job, I was crying, bro. Like, that shit got me. I was just like crying on the job.
Any of my fellow men in bucket hats see this,
bro. I was like filling in nail holes with putty, and like it's just beautiful, like very simple piano piece playing, and then it goes to this big like blasting, glittery, beautiful chorus, and I'm just like filling in the holes, like, oh my god.
That's some shit we could talk about, like the most.
Yeah.
Like that would probably be it for you, but in songs that really got those emotions out of us, man. Because I
that
definitely
whole album, top to bottom, No Shape by Perfume Genius. Like it really goes like that's my spectrum is like the hip hop stuff, and then like the Perfume Genius, like the weirder experimental shit. Like I'm trying to find like. I exist exactly in the middle of that spectrum, and like a little bit everywhere in between, you know. And like the funkiness too. The groove and the funk is very important in my music, and like that definitely comes from like J Dilla, a little bit of, like Tame Impala sort of stuff too, like bass lines. I grew up listening to my mom's disco CDs, so like you know just. 4 on the Floors with like a fat ass bass line, and who's the I can't remember the name, like who did the song, like the rah rah Rasputin love Boney M, like just some funky ass bangers, like stuff like that. It's the hip hop, the funk, the like kind of soulful stuff. Perfume Genius, and then the lo-fi has been like the most recent addition to like my palette. It's been like Fox Academy has probably been the biggest inspiration on the way I deliver vocals. I want to sound like I'm sitting in my bedroom talking into a microphone, but it is like kind of singing. And like that definitely came from Fox Academy.
It's gotta be a little bit of Alex G in there too.
Oh my god,
probably,
Alex G's way bigger than the fact. I'm probably skipping over people that are hugely influential on me, but fine. Alex G is absolutely like, especially when I'm like more into singer-songwriter stuff creatively. Like Alex G is his whole discography I enjoy. Just a very creative and like expressive individual who is like not even kind of trying to stay within like the bounds of any lane, you know. He's just like, I don't know, this is like the idea I had, I pursued it, and I did it with fucking weird vocal effects.
Well, we talked about that on the last episode. I think. Like, I damn near brought it up. I brought you up, and I was like, we both like people that that are definitely not power vocalists. Is I think
I always say I'm not about the Christina Aguileras, the Adele. They're very, very objectively talented and technically impressive, but I don't know, man. It's not that digestible to me compared to someone who isn't that great at something. Again, embracing the flaws. I like seeing people who aren't perfect do things at a very high level. It's very satisfying to me.
As much as I'm on that, I'm a huge Bjork fan. But I guess that's a whole nother level though. At the same time, that's a whole nother way.
She is completely outside of both of those qualifiers.
So going back to what you were proposing earlier, were you suggesting songs or projects or what that
either one?
Okay, that really cut deep basically is what you were trying to say. So let me ask you, what is that for you?
I don't know the name of the song exactly, but
we can find it.
It's the song "Massage Situation" by Flying Lotus. It's what that's sampled from.
Flying.
How old is that one?
Massage Situation. That's
Massage Situation.
That's old.
Massage Situation. I'm not gonna. Oh, I played.
Do you know who his aunt and uncle are?
I know who his aunt is. Yeah,
crazy.
Wait, Coltrane.
Coltrane. Yeah, he's related to the Coltranes.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because you could technically call him an industry plant, and you would probably technically be right, but it's the same way that Vampire Weekend is technically an industry plant. They had their connections, their family was already in the music industry, and they took advantage of that and made some of the most unique shit ever. Same with Flying Lotus. He's related to the Coltranes, man. People are going to give him a chance. And he does something so completely different than anyone that you've ever heard before,
So do I need to go to, are you asking what the sample?
I mean, you don't have to look it up, but I mean, it's in my likes.
Okay.
I'm on YouTube. I gotta. It's way back in there.
So Massage Situation is the song we're referring to.
Yep.
Is the Singer's Unlimited Nature Boy?
Yeah.
That's the sample. The song is called Nature Boy by the Singers Unlimited.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with that shit, man. I guess it just sounds so good. It's just beautiful,
I need to listen to that. I'm not familiar with either songs.
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up, I was on who sampled for Flying Lotus, and I'm like, oh, that's what that's from. And I listened to it, and I'm like, oh shit.
You listened, or have you watched what's it called? Is it Yasuke? No.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Am I wrong? That feels wrong.
The anime, right?
Is that what it's called?
I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. It's the anime that Flying Lotus did the soundtrack for.
I think that's what it is. Yasuke or.
Yasuke, oh thank God I got it right. I've been watching too much Naruto. I'm like, that sounds too much like Sasuke. That can't be right.
No, it was definitely Yasuke.
Dude, that soundtrack was topping the charts for a while there, just for the soundtrack to that show. He only used, I think, a Yamaha CS80 synth. Specifically because he loves the soundtrack for Blade Runner, and that's the only synth they used on Blade Runner. The original ones was the Yamaha CS80. So now, of course, I want a fucking Yamaha CS80 because
naturally
the soundtrack goes crazy on that.
Yeah, I gotta watch it now.
So it's good, and it's based off of a true story. I think an actual black samurai, and then of course it's an anime, so he's got magical powers and shit. So it's I think maybe that was his real name, and the other feudal lords or whatever in the show are also technically historically accurate by name, but again, they have magic, so it is as historically accurate as they wanted an anime to be.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out.
It's pretty good. It's like Netflix exclusive, I think.
Honestly, I haven't kept up with Flying Lotus in a long time either. To be honest,
he's someone that I am very like spotty with.
Yeah.
Where like, I'll throw on like a Flying Lotus radio. Because like it's not always Flying Lotus stuff, but like anything Flying Lotus adjacent is usually pretty good, you know. And it's kind of like there's a lot of really good like. This is kind of there's like an underground like lo-fi like sample based hip hop scene kind of around Atlanta. I think that's like it's a lot of guys using like SP404s to do like. You can go to Atlanta and like see a lot of like live beat shows, and I feel like that is kind of like not necessarily specifically his scene. I don't know where he's from, but like it's stuff like that feels very adjacent to like when he's doing like beats and stuff like that.
Now Zach, what album or what? If you could, I mean, maybe you already kind of went into that with the Perfume Genius stuff, but like, is there another notable album or like a notable song that like really hits you like emotionally? Unless you weren't done, right?
Nah, I think that's it for me. It's a little B song, but I mean, I don't want to repeat the title line.
The Antlers, Hospice by the Antlers.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, and both of these I want to say, like Alex England put me on to Perfume Genius and the Antlers like the same year. That was a year I cried a lot. Just like my life situation and those albums. Like holy shit, those are some heavy albums.
Yes, sir.
It just like it's. I think one of my favorite things about the Hospice album is it's just mixed and mastered like shit. It just doesn't. There are some times where it's like hurts a little bit to listen to. Genuinely, like the
physically and emotionally.
Yeah, it's like a little bit harsh sounding. They're like, oh, you could have like rolled off the highs a little bit there. It would have sounded better. But I love that, and it's definitely top 3 albums for me. It's just so raw as a result of that, you know.
Yeah.
And like.
Sorry, I'm not just browsing Twitter. I'm looking through my Spotify to like find albums.
I will say, I fully intend to, before I die, sample the last track off of the Hospice album, Epilogue. I've sampled it before, but it has this really nice, like crunchy, slow, like sort of sounds like bit crushed guitar at the end, and it just sounds like it's already lo-fied out the ass,
right?
And so it's just finger picking stuff. I'm gonna sample it someday. I already have, but it was like years ago when I first bought the MPC.
Like not quite executed the way that you wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, that is a hugely influential album to me because again, it showed me that you don't need to be perfect with everything. It doesn't need to sound fully professional. It doesn't, like the mixes and the masters, like, yeah, it would be cool if everything sounded like polished and clean, but also like you can make an album that lands on someone's top 3 albums of all time and not give a shit about the mix, you know?
Right.
Like you just make it, man. Like don't worry about all the hoops you have to jump through. Just make it. Just finish the project, you know?
Right. As far as I'm concerned, it's funny because like I found myself scrolling through my Spotify rapidly, but like in scrolling through my Spotify, I'm like, fuck, like a lot of like all of this shit came out of Sweden, bro. Like damn near like fucking Young Lean Blade, Good, like Young or previously Young Good, like like I think the first like citable Young Lean album that like made me feel shit, and like we've talked about this before, but like Warlord. Did you ever listen to that project like when it came out? It came out in 2016.
What all songs are on it?
Is it Miami Ultras?
Miami Ultras, Afghanistan.
I've heard Afghanistan.
I think Miami Ultras has been my favorite Young Lean song. I mean, that's not necessarily true because sometimes it's Agony.
Yeah, that's a great song. Other songs, Hoover,
yeah.
AF1s, Air Force Ones, I got Air Force Ones.
Okay.
Like, Shawty, you know what it do. It's a long album. But like, this album is like notably like the most like aggressive and experimental, I think, like Young Lean project. Not that he's not experimenting now, but it's like one of his some of his more recent stuff has been like a little prettier. Yeah, like this is like grimy as fuck, and like if you watch that Young Lean documentary, which I recommend to both of you, it like details all of the events surrounding this album, and like his life was hella fucked up, bro. Let
me see the artwork.
The artwork, and we can flash it on the podcast, but like that shit.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is unrelated to the podcast, but like I want to watch that with you before you leave.
Definitely.
Like that's the thing we gotta do. We gotta beat Breath of the Wild. We gotta watch the Young Lean documentary. You cannot leave until we do those things.
I got you, bro. I got you. No, but I'm just like going through, and I'm not gonna detail like Young Lean's entire discography, but Hennessy and Sailor Moon by Young Lean and Blade, like Hennessy and Sailor Moon, all I ever see is you. Like that shit is like beautiful as fuck, and like I don't know, that specifically that song. And like everything else on that project is like damn near not half as good as that song, bro. But I love that song. Probably like Red Bottom Sky off of Ice Dropping Red Bottom Sky. Yes. Let's do the whole song right now on the podcast.
I'll be sitting that one out.
Yeah.
that's probably one of my favorite Lean songs too. Honestly,
that's a beautiful fucking song, bro.
The synths on that entire album were so. I've said glittery like 2 or 3 times this whole episode. But like they're glittery, man. Like it's like they're kind of like they shimmer a little bit. You know, it's like it's that high end.
Yeah. And damn near the last 2 Young Lean albums, I have loved but have not like connected to in the same way as those previous ones. But damn, he had like a 3-album run there that like just had me like crying. Like, you know, like
because he was so damn unstable.
Yeah, and
those times. And I don't know his situation now, obviously, but like back then he was definitely like
he was definitely going through it.
And like when you discovered those albums and everything, like
entirely unbeknownst to me that was going on.
Yeah.
You good, Ray?
Yeah.
No, but like you know, I won't detail Blade because those songs are like fewer. I love all of Blade's discography, but like at the end of the day, not all of his like lyrics are like super relatable and like
impactful.
I love Blade. Like
they're not.
Like,
it's not always supposed to be hard hitting.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
It's like it's supposed to be like this white dude from Sweden just like saying shit.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And there's like nothing wrong with that. It's super enjoyable to listen to.
And I have one song from Good. It's called Body Horror. And it's like this crazy, like super, it's from 2016, I believe. It's this crazy, like super experimental track. You need something, Zach?
I got it, don't sweat it.
Alright, yeah. it's this like super experimental. I've probably played it for you before, but I don't know if I have. Like, it's very much like witch housey in a way. Like, I knew that would.
If I pick, I'm gonna pick an album when you're done for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you mentioned Witch House.
Yes, let's talk about Witch House.
Witch House, the coolest named genre
Ever.
of the decade. Yeah.
Indeed.
Like, as soon as Tom was like, "Yo, have you ever listened to Witch House before?" I was like, "No, but whoa."
I want to. Like,
Man, that shit, man. This is gonna be a whole.
whatever, bro. We're at 70 minutes. We're past the point of no return. Let's just get into it.
Fuck it. But yeah. So my introduction to Witch House is obviously Salem. This is going back 2012, 13. So I talked about the place beyond the pines before.
You were onto like Witch House type shit then, or like? Then?
Well, yeah, because I watched the place beyond the pines. There's a scene where Trapdoor by Salem plays, and that caught my attention.
I was unaware that Salem has been at it for 10 years.
Yeah, man, like
damn near longer than that. Yeah.
it would be, as far as I know, like 13 years or some
How
shit
old
like
is
that.
Salem? Like the
Like
main dude?
like 2010, 2011.
Damn. Do you know like? Shit, I don't know like the actual like guy behind the whole thing. Like, how old is this man?
Ray, if you can give like a brief.
Well, yeah, there was 3 of them. There's now 2. I know the main one is Jack Donahue. I always forget the other guy's name. And there was a girl in the group, but she left. I don't really know why. There's an interview with some magazine, but I haven't read it yet. But yeah, watched The Place Beyond the Pines. Trapdoor was in that scene. Started listening to the song, found out I think it was voted the worst hip hop song of that year.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean it is kind of like ass up.
Well, Trapdoor. Remind me how that goes. I need like.
I mean, you can barely hear the fucking lyrics, to be honest. It's just
but it's off that first. Is it off of King Knight?
Yeah, it's on King Knight.
Okay.
It's like the
feel
most.
like I recall it. Like.
Yeah, it's the most rap song on that. Yeah. So you know it's. I don't remember the lyrics. It's just.
It's all good.
Yeah. So from there I went to King Knight, and then you're like, found out that they had been gone by the time I found about it. So yeah, like Salem came back in 2020. Came back.
They disappeared again.
Yeah. I think one of them is in jail. So, but yeah.
No
Sounds like a Witch House thing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I'm in like a Salem Reddit page, and like some dude posted the Salem archive on like Google Drive, and it's just hella old interviews that you cannot find, and old tracks that are like unreleased and shit.
Oh, that's kind of tight actually.
So that being said, like, what is it for you about like Salem? Like
Sonically, lyrically, production wise.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess everything, man, for sure. I mean, because there's definitely something in the lyrics. Like even with Trapdoor, that's like even though I can't remember the fucking lyrics right now, but like it was just, you know, it reminded me of like shit that I was listening to at the time as far as rap, and then everything else, it was definitely like the production and just the whole aesthetic and shit. I mean, even that album cover for King Knight is hard as fuck.
It's all like so grimy and shit, you know.
Yeah,
like, it just sounds like any bass line, any Witch House song I've ever heard before sounds like they just dragged it through like some mud or like on a gravel road. Like it's just like the low end is just
damn near
dirty as hell.
If you saw what's that music video? The Starfall music video. Where did I show you that shit where they're like chasing storms?
Yeah, that was the first. Yeah. That was the first Salem track you ever showed me.
Yeah, like they damn near did drag it through some gravel roads, bro.
And then there are other videos, which is just like compilations of just random shit that are hard as fuck too.
Yeah.
Let's. Alright, did you have anything more to go on as far as Salem is concerned?
Nah, just shout out Salem.
Shout out Salem.
We were bound to talk about them eventually. Okay. We have quite a few more things on this note. We can kind of like speed through them though.
Yeah.
Just given that we're at like 8
Hour
minutes.
20.
Yeah. Okay, so, and maybe you've talked about this already, but like projects on the way, coming down the pipeline, that sort of thing. Like you've talked about the album. Is there anything else you've got in the works worth noting?
I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be working on this one probably for a while, but I wanna drop a Christmas beat tape, and it's gonna be sample based shit only, and it's gonna be like. It's gonna be a lot of ho 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 vinyl records I'm gonna cut up, you know, and like I've found already like some really cool records and cassettes and stuff. There's this one guy I found. I know his first name is Lou, but I can't remember anything else. But it's like this jazzy, funky, like it's electric guitars and like really like smooth, slick bass lines to like Christmas music. It's the easiest shit to chop up into a sampled beat, you know.
Hell yeah!
And like that's something that's probably gonna take me a few years because I can
only tolerate listening to Christmas music for a month of the year.
That is actually
I know it's 100%
the reason.
All of November.
Yeah, it's November and like through Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
we're in that time now. It's time to work on the
shit,
tape.
you're right.
Back.
I do need to actually get back to it. I'm gonna hit some record stores up soon. And actually, we're having some friends in town this weekend. And shout out Brendan, shout out Mish. And we're probably gonna hit a record store, so I'll probably be like shopping for some Christmas shit. I just want to like cut up some frosty little beats. And like I don't know, I want to have like 10 total, and I just want to like probably draw some goofy little like Christmas artwork for it and just release it. And there's a good chance that'll get done before the album. That's not true because I only spend 2 months at the most every year working on the Christmas beat tape. So I hope that I don't finish that before my album. That would be so sad.
I have Big Nice written here, and I just wanted, like, if nothing else, then to briefly talk about this, like, if I may. So Big Nice is Bad Demo x Jackie Paper. Like, that is our project name, essentially. And
all caps,
of course, naturally. There you go. It's in all caps. Bad Demo is in all caps. You know, there's a theme going here.
It's not in all caps in the notes.
But like, we were damn near like around this same time that that show occurred. Like a year and a half ago is when we made our first Big Nice single, Mewtwo.
I love that song.
I love that song too. We damn near need to release that. Like,
yeah, we might as well just like. I think we should revisit the mix and master.
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
Like we could do that in a day or two, and just drop it. Why not?
Yeah, well, because we played that at that show, and damn near have not touched it since then.
We've got like we have like a playlist of tracks, and it's I think what we have found so far is that we like really like squashed acoustic guitar, like squashed, like just compress the hell out of it, you know, lo-fi garbage, whatever, and then just like the synth tone is very important, as well as the drums need to kind of match. Like we started doing that thing where like I would use the Addictive Drums plugin, which is like an acoustic drum kit modeled, basically. Like they recorded an acoustic drum kit, and then like we'll like sequence out some drums, and it'll just be like mostly like hi-hats, percussion in the background, and we'll just build the entire track on top of it. Like we just get the rhythm first and then just do whatever over top of it. And we just for whatever reason, haven't fully dived into Big Nice. And like I know as soon as we do, it's gonna be perfect.
It's gonna be big and beautiful.
It's gonna be big and nice.
Big and nice. We're just at the end of the day, we're just a couple of big nice dudes making big nice music. The next thing I have is the Naruto single that we plan on releasing.
Yeah, what do we had on that?
Rasengan and Chidori. We have like 2 songs that I have more or less produced by myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we've both watched up to like season 6 of Naruto at this point.
As of this, that was the qualifier where I was like, I cannot like confidently write lyrics until I've seen all the way through season 5 to get like the full like intro to the Chidori and Rasengan and all that. So I'm up to speed. Now we gotta.
Let's do it.
Now we gotta do that. It's okay. So it's Breath of the Wild. It's Young Lean documentary, and it's our
2-track single.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We damn near already covered. We don't have to do the what you're getting into thing. I think that's more or less like. Do we want to?
What I'm getting into?
Are you watching some shit? Are you reading something? Playing something?
Okay, yeah, that is. Well, I mean, I've been watching Naruto like crazy, and just to get up to speed, and because it's one of those things like, it's a classic. I've never watched it, you know.
Same.
yeah, it's what I've been getting into.
I mean, any other shows or movies or?
It's been a lot of anime the last like year or so. Honestly, since COVID hit, it's been a lot of anime because, dude, I don't know what else to do. Like I wasn't going anywhere, so I just like started watching anime. It started with like One Piece and all that. Then I got super into like Demon Slayer and all that. And I was just playing it. I've been playing the Switch a lot too, honestly. Like I'm not a gamer by any means, but I've been playing like Hades.
Okay.
And it's like this what do you even call it?
It's
roguelike.
like
It's a roguelike game. Yeah, that's what it is.
Isn't it like not top down, but
essentially though? Yeah, essentially. And it's very satisfying. Like it scratches the itch for my ADHD brain where I get to just like drill into something for a seemingly endless amount of time and like eventually get rewarded for it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean honestly lately I've been watching a lot of anime by myself and then watching Gilmore Girls with Camille and that's kind of been what I've been consuming as far as media is concerned lately.
Fair enough.
I need to
and then the
get
new
up on
Alex G album, honestly, it's weird as fuck and I love it.
What's it called? God Save the Animals?
God Save the Animals, yeah. And fun fact, one of my favorite and perhaps most fun facts of Alex G is that all of the artwork that he uses for his albums is all painted by his sister. Like his sister paints all the artwork. It's so cool. And I am just looking at the cover for it. I mean, I guess I could technically be wrong, but I'm very certain that she painted this one as well because it is like it's very consistent. Painted. Yeah, it looks painted and it's the same like style of painting and it's just.
That's what we were listening to at Jared's the other day. Yeah.
I bought Operation Doomsday on vinyl and found out that Doom did the artwork for that album.
Damn, I didn't know that.
I had no idea. I did not know that at all.
That's really cool.
Yeah. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
He had this is a bit of a stretch to make this connection, but I'm going to do it. There's a guy on that album called MF Grimm. And my sister just had her third child, first son, and his name is Grimm. Spelled the same way, so
that's what's up.
That's super tight.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing on here is stupid, objectively. Second to last thing on our list. But me and Ray took a brief adjournment, if you will, on a slightly ridiculous path today. We listened to Drake and 21 Savage's new album, Her Loss. Have you listened to any of it? I don't blame you if you haven't.
No.
That's
I don't
totally
remember.
okay, because I only legitimately liked 2 tracks off of this. Here, let me look real quick.
I will say that something that was kind of upsetting is like, you know, I don't know if it was like Stereo Gum or some like, you know, like music news outlet that posted their Twitter like, Drake just released the album artwork for the new collab with 21 Salvage. We should start like a Goodwill.
The 21 Salvage Army.
just like hip hop merch. It'll just be called 21 Salvage.
Funny as hell.
But it was like, you know, they posted the album artwork when it was like leaked or whatever, and it was the replies were just people being like, oh, what an ugly picture of this girl. I was like, dog, chill out.
Yeah,
I
I actually fuck with that shit.
I think it's a cool album cover. I like shit that like doesn't look like it took any effort at all.
But apparently, according to some random Twitter page today, that they're being sued like $4 million for that album cover by like Vogue or something. I think I read that shit to you earlier, maybe.
Yeah.
Small fries.
And it's also like so like. I mean, are you familiar with that FKA Twigs album cover?
Yeah.
Like you probably saw the same tweet I did, where like, okay, they are definitely like ripping off this shit, like more or less. Here, I'll show you the 2 album covers.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
So this album cover versus the Drake. You know what I mean? Like, there's not necessarily a connection there, but like, I don't know. People were like comparing it on Twitter. Like,
it's 2 women with similar facial features, you know, but like,
and tooth correction of some kind.
The only thing I know about this woman on the cover is that like, they like linked to her Twitter, you know. And then I was like, okay, I'll go see like what kind of person she is, and I think she just has like an OnlyFans. And then I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. That seems like someone Drake would put on an album cover.
Funny as hell. Ray, can you speak on what because we did not listen to the whole thing in its entirety. Like, we listened to a few of the first few tracks and like damn near like snippets of every other track. Like, can you speak on this album at all?
Like my assessment of it?
Yes.
Boing loings is what I would. which means balls. And on adventure time.
You know, like this is exactly an hour long project. Like,
I bet people love it
songs.
Too. I bet people are eating that shit up too.
Yeah, I mean it's 21,
not. Can you do something for me? Or something like that. Like,
I mean it's not. Well, for one, I don't really listen to either one of them, but
not anymore anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's not ass, but it's not doing nothing new.
It's balls instead of ass.
Yes.
Almost ass.
The only songs I liked were Hours in Silence. I'm not gonna like play them because we would get torn apart on YouTube for that shit. And Jumbotron Shit Poppin'.
Is that the one with how do I describe that beat? It's more like slow and.
They're both like slower, like auto croony, like kind of beats. Like damn near the Hours in Silence is like, hey, what would 21 sound like with Drake's vocal chain? Like, like
they just accidentally recorded into the wrong vocal strip.
And they were like, oh shit, there you go. There you go. We've come full circle. No, but like, overall, this shit is terrible in my opinion. Like, I don't like it. Like, you know, if you like it, like, that's totally fine. Like, I'm not gonna shit on it.
I guess.
but like, they have a song called "Privileged Rappers," and on this album, and like. Who are Drake and 21 Savage, like, at the end of the day, you know, like...
At least Drake.
I was gonna say, for sure, Drake.
Yeah.
You can't come up off of Degrassi and not be a privileged rapper.
Damn near.
Yeah.
No, but, like, and it was damn near Drake saying more shit about, like, these privileged rappers than anybody else. I don't know. Like, again, we didn't pay that much attention to the album, so take our word with a grain of salt. But
it was supposed to be meta. I guess. I don't care.
I don't care.
Tell him, Drake.
Okay, the last thing we have on here, and I think this is a good point to end on at over 90 minutes. Damn.
Hey.
Favorite movie / album all time and recent.
Movie's always a hard one for me because, like, I can never stick to just one.
Now, may I interject, like, the most recent, or at least, like, when we met, like, your favorite movie was Good Will Hunting, yes?
Yeah. I was very into that. It's still definitely, probably top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Robin Williams, R.I.P. But, I've been watching a ton of movies lately, either is the thing.
I mean, what was the last one you watched that was really good? It doesn't have to be like this year or nothing like that.
Yeah, like anything notable that, like, sticks out in your head.
God, that's tough. I feel like I'm just drawing a blank here.
You're good.
Movies suck.
I don't know what the deal is. I haven't been watching a ton of movies at all, like within the last like year or so. Like, I mean, honestly, since COVID, I've been watching a ton of movies. Camille and I end up kind of just watching like TV shows a lot of times. I mean, okay, we got like super into Quiet Place. I prefer the first one. I just think it's really well done. Actually, I guess if we're gonna go with recent, I just watched Nope, the Jordan Peele film. Yeah. And
have you seen that or no?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Have we all seen that?
No.
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's pretty cool.
I really enjoyed it. It was a pretty fresh take on the whole like UFO situation or whatever. And I mean, at this point, I just...
The UFO dilemma.
Yeah, that we're all worried about. No, I just, at this point, I trust Jordan Peele. And I was like, I gotta see it. I haven't seen an Alien movie in a while. So that would definitely cover my recent one. The fact that, like... When you were like, okay, favorite movie all time, the fact that just Napoleon Dynamite pops up in my head, I have to at least mention it, not because it is my favorite movie of all time, but because like I can't not think about it when someone asks me that question, because I've seen that movie more than I think any other movie I've ever seen. I've seen Napoleon Dynamite so many times. We had it on DVD growing up, and we could have watched any other movie. We could have watched Shark Tale. That movie rocks. But nope, we watched Napoleon Dynamite.
Alright, Zach's favorite movie is Shark Tale and recording.
Hey, Shark Tale's a great movie, but it's no Napoleon Dynamite.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, any clothing.
Clothing thoughts?
Any closing thoughts, comments, plugs, anything you wanna put out into the ether of our audience of 11 people?
Social media, anything? You know?
Definitely go listen to Boy by Jackie Paper on all streaming services. And you can follow my Instagram, which is just... I'm pretty sure it's just...
It's JackiePaper.wave. Yeah.
JackiePaper.wave. Yeah. Do I spell the dot or do I use a period?
I think you use a period.
Okay, yeah. And I'm going to get back on posting my drawings again to my personal account, which my personal account is just Zachariah Zoske. Zoske is the last name.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of drawings on there right now too, and that's something to look out for, as I'm gonna try to start monetizing that. I want to sell that, like do prints, all that shit. Maybe like throw some of my characters on some shirts or whatever. I feel like they would look good on a shirt.
Absolutely, bro.
And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Cool.
I'm stoked about.
There you go.
There you go.
Hell yeah, Zach. Thank you for coming on, brother. Like, this has been a killer conversation.
Yeah.
Fucking maybe not our longest episode yet, but like over almost an hour 40. So like close to episode 0.
Fuck it.
Cool.
Fuck it.
We
Thank
chicken
you,
nugget.
Jackie Paper. Thank you. There you go, audience. Thank you,
Manscaped.
Ray. Manscaped. PBR. Any other thank yous we need to throw out there? Fuck.
Team Love Shack.
Funny as
The
hell.
cozies.
Goodbye.
Yes, sir.
Dude, that was awesome.
The moment that I realized I had completely lost track of time is I don't know if you pointed out, if I just looked over there.